Hi guys, it is almost Easter and I am so excited that all of you are joining us on our Easter journey. So for some of you that are joining our team for the very first time, my name is Jill and my official role here at Northridge Church is I oversee 1st through 3rd grade. I'm excited to take you on this journey with us for this weekend. As you know, we have 11 services here in Plymouth, so 4 on Friday, 4 on Saturday, and 3 on Sunday, and all of you have signed up for some, at least one or maybe more of the services. So I wanted to take you through what each service is going to look like. Each service will be identical, barring any logistical challenges, but I just wanted to make you aware of some details and all of that. Just so you know too, we have an Easter egg hunt on Friday at 12:16 before the 1:16 service, and we have an Easter egg hunt on Saturday in Plymouth at 10:16 before the 11:16 service, and then again after the last service, so approximately 6:30 after the 5:16 service. So that will be in addition to our regular kids ministry hours. So lots happening here in Plymouth this weekend, and so I wanted to walk you through this together so that you can get a good feel of what we're going to do. So first off, if you could be here and checked in and ready to go 45 minutes before your scheduled service. So the doors will open for each service for kids to start checking in 30 minutes prior to start time. So for the 1:16 service on Friday, our doors will open at 12:45. So we will have a team time at 12:30. So we're going to have all of our team times 45 minutes before each service, and they're going to be in room 2220. So it's on the second floor. If you're not familiar with where the room is, you're going to go up the stairs by the underground area, and there'll be registration kiosks, and so you'll check in at the registration kiosk and get your name tag so that you're able to get back into our secured area, and then they can point you in the direction of 2220. Just look for the room numbers. It's around the path a little bit, so you have to follow the square upstairs around the theaters back to 2220, and so that's where we'll meet. We'll talk through some last minute details, we'll pray, and we'll make sure everybody gets in the right spot. So if you can please be on time for that. So prep, you can park in the shuttle lot over at just on the other side of North Territorial on Ridge Road. And you can do that all day Friday, all day Saturday, and all day Sunday. And the shuttle brings you right to the door, or you can park in the parking lot. Just give yourself ample time so that you're ready to go in room 2220 by 12:30 or 45 minutes prior to the service. Okay, so when kids come in, they are going to check into the Elevate Theater. So if you're familiar with our ministry, obviously you'll know where that's at. If not, that will be where all 1st through 5th graders are checked in. We're going to be combined for the weekend, and there will be tables in that room. So you as a small group leader will be assigned to a table, and that's going to be your pre-service area. So we are not opening our zones this weekend. If you're familiar with that, we are not opening those. So in the pre-service area, you'll have a bunch of supplies on your table ready to go. And so I'm going to walk you through that right now. So there is some bingo that you'll have to play. There's you can play it on this side, which is just like a fun secular Easter stuff, and then there's the biblical Easter side too. You can play a couple different times if you have time for it. You'll have some kids that are in your room at your table for potentially the full 30 minutes, and some that are only in there for 2 minutes. So you'll kind of have to guide through that. But there will be a bingo chips for you to use on this, or jelly beans if I can get to the store to get those. And then there is a leader guide that you'll just pick the number or the item, call it, and all the cards are different at your table. There will also be some coloring sheets if you have time for that, and if you had kids that would like to color. Also, on the screens in that theater, there will be some interactive games playing the whole time. So some of them are like figure out the picture, trivia, different things like that. So your table can engage with that as well. You are going to lead out your table. So you kind of go in with a game plan or read the kids at your table and kind of know what they may be interested in. The other thing is, at your table, there or near your table, there will be a bunch of light bulbs. These are plastic, not breakable, and these are what we're going to be making for the service. So what you're going to want to do during your pre-service time, this is your time when your kids are going to decorate these light bulbs. So it will be Sharpies at the table, and there will be a sign that shows some different options to put on their light bulb. They can write hope. Like this, if you can see, this was my prototype, so it's a little rough, but you can write Jesus is the light. There's some different options. I also wrote on the back here, my hope comes from God, Psalm 62:5, and so these are all different options. They will need to decorate these and write their name on the bottom. These are going to stay with them the whole time. So when they come to large group, they are going to carry these with them, and we're going to give them instructions as to how to put it under their chair. So you probably don't want to put these in your bag because they will be hard to redistribute when you need them. So take these with you, but there should be blank ones in your bag just in case, because there will be some latecomers coming in. So again, to recap, at your table for pre-service, you're going to have your light bulbs, and every child will need to make one of these. And then you'll have some games and fun things as well to go through your time. As far as small groups go, every small group leader will get a paper bag, and this will have all the supplies that you need for the service. And so what's going to happen is there's going to be 6 different teachers that come in and do a part of the Easter story. So for example, somebody will talk about what it was like in the Garden of Gethsemane. Somebody will talk about what it was like at the trial. Somebody will talk about what it was like at the burial. And so after each teacher comes in and does their part, you're going to have 2 minutes only, with your group to turn and have them pull out their light bulbs that they made in pre-service. And they are going to put an item in that bag. If you want to keep all the lids in your bag, that might be a great idea for the service. That just came to me. So that might be wise, so that you don't have to worry about unscrewing and screwing. But so for example, during when we talk about the cross, they're going to have a little felt cross. They're all going to put one in here. When we talk about the garden, they're going to put a flower in. When we talk about the burial, there's a piece of linen. As we talk about how Jesus' body was wrapped in linen. There's a nail that represents when Jesus was nailed on the cross. There is a crown of thorns, a paper one, that can go in. There was a palm leaf, but I seem to have misplaced it right now. So there is a palm leaf as well. And then there is a small stone. And this one does not fit, which we knew could potentially happen. So if that does, no worries. We have plenty of little pebbles and things to put in. And so by the end of the night, they're going to have all of these items in here, and this will be something that they take home as a reminder of all the things that we have talked about. Our overwhelming theme for the day is about how Jesus is the hope and the light of the world. So that's what the light bulb is for. At the end of the night, for the service, every child will take home a card. It looks like this. They will get it at the door, so you do not have to worry about handing this out, but they will get this, and on the back is just a little description of each item so that their parents can understand what they made and why they made it. During those 2 minutes that you turn and talk to your group, you're really just going to be focused on getting the items out and into their light bulb. And if you have a 30 seconds or something to kind of talk about what the teacher just landed on, you can definitely do that. But for the most part, you will be focused more on filling the light bulb. After the last person has taught the resurrection, You actually are going to have a 6-minute small group. And so we will have countdowns on the screen. And so at that moment, you're going to move to any free space in the room. It doesn't have to be a specific area. If you've been in a room before, typically we have very specific areas for third grade boys and third grade girls and all of that. Don't worry about that. You're just going to move to an empty space and you're going to sit with your group and you're going to talk for a few minutes. You will get this sheet included in your email, and it has questions for each part of the Easter story. And so some of them are review questions and some of them are application questions. Again, as you can feel out your group, you can kind of feel like what questions are working well. The goal is not necessarily to get through every question. Your goal is to connect with your group and have great conversation. So do not feel like, oh, I have to get through all these questions. I don't care about anything else. No, that is not the goal. But these are definitely launching points for you. The main thing that we really hope that you land on during this 6-minute time is when you tie it all together. Like, why are we celebrating Easter? What is Easter all about? Why did Jesus come to die on the cross? And so there's a little bit more information on here. And we do what is called the ABCs, if you're not familiar with that. And it's just a simple way to kind of remember the steps of salvation. And so A is admit that you're a sinner. Romans 3:23 says that for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. And sin is anything that we do that disobeys God. And sin separates us from God. God can't be around sin. That's why they had to leave the Garden of Eden, because when sin entered the world, God could no longer be with Adam and Eve. And so A is just admitting that we're all sinners. Everyone is a sinner. Everyone. And then the B is believe that Jesus died on the cross. Obviously, that's a huge focus of what we're talking about, is that Jesus died for our sins. And he did it so that we could live forever. And so we have to believe that Jesus did that for us, that he died to take away our sin. And so believe is the B part of what we do and what we talk about. And then C is choose, or some people say confess to Jesus, or choose to follow Jesus and accept him as our Savior. C is obviously so important. We need all three, but even the devil believes in Jesus and believes that Jesus died on the cross, but he's never chosen to follow him and confess his sins and have him reign in his life. So that's a great way to walk through the plan of salvation with kids. I would strongly encourage you to share your quick salvation story, kind of who you were before you came to know Christ and how you came to know Christ and who you are now. Sometimes we call that an elevator story, something that you can tell really quick, just in the time maybe that you're in an elevator. It doesn't have to be long and extensive, but just a way to show the kids that you have made this choice in your own life, and that is why you are even there this weekend leading kids. So I strongly encourage you to walk through this with your kids and then pray together. We know that there's going to be a lot of visiting families this weekend, a lot of kids that maybe have never been in our ministry. Maybe this is something they're hearing for the first time, or maybe it's the 500th time and it's just now becoming real in their life. So please be in prayer for all of your conversations that you get to have this weekend and for the kids' hearts to be changed. A couple of things that you need to know is that kids ministry is hectic and crazy sometimes. Your group will not just be sitting there quietly listening to everything that you have to say. That would be kind of dreamy for a little bit, but that's not the way it actually works. So a lot of our kids will be busy, they'll be moving, all of those things. And so we just want to make sure that we're constantly focusing them the right direction. Maybe sometimes you have them all lay on their bellies and listen, and you can do that too. Or maybe you have them do a quick yoga stretch or something. Whatever you need to do to get your group to listen. But if you have a challenging child, you can definitely see me or Chris, who you'll meet on the weekend. He leads our 4th and 5th grade, or any of the teachers that are teaching during the main lesson. If you need support during your small group time, they would be willing to help as well, because it would be naive of us to think that that won't happen at all. Also, restroom breaks, same thing. You can ask one of us to take them. We don't just let them go to the restroom by themselves unless there's a few occasions where I might let a really regular kid go, but typically we don't. Also, there are no adults allowed in the restroom at all. So if you need to use the restroom, you'll have to go outside of the secured area, and we can point you to the right direction if you're not familiar with our area. But definitely just touch base with, again, one of us, anyone with a blue lanyard or one of the teachers, and we can let you know where all of that's at. And so after, I'm going back to small group time. So after that 6-minute time where you really get a little bit more of a chance to connect with your group and talk through the ABCs and all of that, you at the end of that 6 minutes will hear some soft music playing, and we'll come back together for a large group for a time of worship. Somebody will wrap up the lesson, kind of bring it all back together and kind of reiterate all the things that we've talked about. And then we will worship together in celebration, probably all the way through when parents pick up. You are not responsible for checking tags as a small group leader, but you are responsible for your kids to remain safe and doing what they're supposed to do until parents pick up. So Lord willing, we will be singing. So when parents come in, we will maybe worship a little bit with parents, and then we'll turn on the lights. But we are going to ask that all the kids remain seated on the benches until their parent picks up. We are not going to run around the room and be crazy. Once the parent comes and grabs their kids, somebody will be at the door checking tags. So you, as a small group leader, again, do not have to worry about that. But just make sure that they get to that parent first. Okay, I know I'm giving you lots of information. I promise it's not complicated, but there is a learning curve whenever you're stepping into something new. So thank you for those that serve faithfully each and every week and who are committed to our kids ministry. But thank you so much for those who are stepping up for the first time and taking a leap of faith, because it's super exciting. So we hope that you get a little glimpse of what we get to do on a regular basis, and hope that you would prayerfully consider maybe joining our teams on a more regular basis. I'm sorry this video is so long. Typically, it is not long at all from week to week, but I wanted to make sure you knew all the elements so that because we have such a short team time this week, because we're opening the doors early, we won't have time to talk about all of this in detail. All right, I will also be attaching songs on here if you want to take a listen to whatever songs we're doing, and I'll attach a small group sheet. So if you have any other questions or anything, please feel free to email me or text me. I'll include my phone number. And please pray for all of the elements that are coming together for the weekend. It's such an exciting weekend where we just know that we have the opportunities to engage with a lot of people who typically maybe wouldn't step foot into church, but maybe on Easter they will. So thank you again for your time, and can't wait to see you soon. Have a great night.